All right, everyone. We are joined here by Dustin Dorsey, a reporter out of San Francisco, a Dallas Cowboys fan as well. We are here at Radio Week in Miami for the Super Bowl. So, Dustin, I know you've been covering the San Francisco 49ers all year. What would you say is the biggest thing that the 49ers have to do to win this game?
Well, I think first and foremost, it comes down to the defense. You know, as you saw in last year's Super Bowl, the better defense won. The Rams looked great, and the Patriots came in, you shut them down, and, led off to a lot of good things for them. I think the Niners have a lot of that same aspects. They have a great front line. Front seven is awesome. Their back end is fantastic, anchored by Richard Sherman with some Super Bowl experience, which is always good, and with a young team for the 49ers. Containing Mahomes is going to be huge. Mahomes is going to be huge. No lead is obviously safe, as he's proved in the playoffs thus far. And the Niners are going to have to be really on top of it. They need to control the ball with running the football, but defense is going to really be the key part to win this game for sure.
So do the losses by the 49ers this year, in particular to Baltimore and Seattle, do those two losses worry you at all in terms of this game, considering that those were both mobile quarterbacks, of course Mahomes mobile as well?
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities, obviously, between Mahomes and Jackson and Wilson, like you said. That is kind of the formula to beat them, is that kind of mobile quarterback. They also got Wilson this year. They've also done a good job stopping different mobile quarterbacks throughout their run. Aaron Rodgers is a guy that's been known to use his legs, and they did a really good job containing him last week. It's going to be interesting. That is the kind of the mentality that you could beat them, but don't forget Baltimore was in a pouring down rainstorm, and the Russell Wilson game, had it not been for a rookie undrafted kicker being in the game and missing it so far off left that it went into the crowd, basically, that could have been a different story too. So it will be interesting. I know, the other loss was obviously to Matt Ryan and the Falcons. It's a fluke. It's a weird loss, but it's something you got to be concerned about as well, because they got a lot of weapons. You got an Austin Hooper, you got a Travis Kelce, you got a Julio Jones, obviously a bigger, different kind of receiver, but you got a Tyreek Hill. A lot of weapons is something that's going to challenge the Niners as well, because while their cornerbacks are strong, when you put out a lot of weapons out there, you start getting into your backups quickly, and those other guys are going to have to step up.
So I grew up in South Florida, and I went to a rival high school to the Bosas. So Joey and Nick went to St. Thomas. And Joey was in my grade, and I had seen him in some areas, and in a way, kind of was around him in our growing up process. What is his overall perception over in how do people like him over there? Like, is he like a figure over in San Francisco? Like, does he go out and go to local schools or whatever? Like, how's it been having Joey Bosa there?
He's fantastic. He's a guy that the Niners got to be really considered lucky to be able to get. About any other year, the number one overall pick would have been him. And with the Cardinals going with Kyler Murray, he fell right into their laps. And he's been fantastic. He's a great player on and off the field. He's done a lot of good things. He's good to the media. That's always a nice thing for us. And he's an impactful player. The guys really rally around him. You see that he's having fun, and that's really, spurring some fun in that locker room with other guys, other first-round picks on that defensive line, DeForest Buckner, Solomon Thomas, Eric Armstead. That it really kind of rejuvenated this group and kind of was the final piece of that puzzle to really get them going.
So, and we have a FAU football player that plays on that defense, Azeez Al-Shaair. He made the team over in training camp. Do you know anything about him or how he's doing? I don't even know if he's going to be playing in the Super Bowl. He was scratched or injured. He was injured for the conference championship game.
Yeah, he's one of the reserve guys, but this is great experience, first and foremost. At the end of the day, being able to be at this level, go through all these things, as someone that you don't have to maybe worry about preparing for the game. Obviously, injuries and things could happen. Maybe he's put into the spotlight there, but going through this experience got to be invaluable to be able to sit there and learn what the media is like, the attention and everything like that, the big lights, the big stage, the longer halftime. There's a lot of things that go into a Super Bowl that people aren't used to, and to be able to learn that, even if you're not playing, you're learning a lot, I imagine. So even if his impact isn't going to be on the field, it's going to be a good week for him no matter what.
Well, speaking about, Super Bowl experience, while Jimmy Garoppolo has never played in a Super Bowl, he's been around Tom Brady in the past. Do you think that Tom Brady, his mindset or anything about Tom Brady still influences Jimmy to this day?
Well, a friend of mine said that Jimmy Garoppolo is a winner. If you look at him, he's not always going to have the stats. He's not a guy that made the Pro Bowl this year. But he's winning football games, and if you look at Tom Brady, while his stats are obviously there, he wins football games too. So I think a lot of that mentality is rubbed off on Jimmy G, and I think that that's going to be something that he's going to be able to lean on this week. Like I said, learning what it's all like. He's been here multiple times. He has a couple rings to his resume, so he could go up to his teammates and tell them, hey, this is how it needs to be done. Now he has to prove that he could do it on his own. It's going to be very different, obviously between being the backup and being the starter. So that should be interesting to see. But that experience is going to be really big for him as well. And I think that mentality that he learned from Brady, you could see that passion on the sidelines.
Right, and we all know, Jimmy Garoppolo had 8 pass attempts last week. We're all assuming that he'll probably throw the ball more, but do you see the Niners relying on that run game and maybe limiting Jimmy to 13, 14 passes?
Always. That's the game plan week in, week out, and why not? You've got all these running backs. I believe it's 4 running backs that had over 600 yards this season, and that's something that's never happened in NFL history. So why would you not want to do that? And the thing is, if one guy's not rolling, you go to a different person. You try something else out, and I think that they're going to be able to do that in this game. Now, the Chiefs obviously showed that they could shut down Derrick Henry. These are obviously kind of different style running backs than that guy. So that should make it interesting. But that's definitely the game plan. You got to run the football first, let Jimmy G come in second. But he showed in New Orleans a hostile place to play in a big game this season for what turned out to be the number 1 overall seed. And he outdueled Drew Brees in the Superdome and showed up big. So if the ball's in his hands, he could get it done. But I don't think that that's what they want to do in this. They want to play good defense. They want to run the football.
Absolutely. And one more quick question before we get you out of here. What's one thing about the Chiefs that worries you for the 49ers?
Well, the obvious is Patrick Mahomes, but I think the speed of the receiving core is going to be really challenging. Darrelle Revis obviously called out Sherman this week for not traveling, not going up against the number 1 receiver. He's going to go up, I'm sure, a lot against Tyreek Hill in this game. And if he doesn't, it's going to be guys like Kella Witherspoon on the other side, Mosley on the other side, that's going to have to keep up with the speed of this Chiefs defense. Pringle, Robinson, Sammy Watkins, Tyreek Hill. This is a track 4x100 relay that they're putting out on the football field and trying to stop them, and going backwards as these guys are running up. You better have some quick feet and some fluid hips to get, keep up with these guys. So I think the speed's going to be the biggest challenge for sure. But they've done it before, and, you can't count this defense out, especially a guy like Richard Sherman.
So, lastly, for my last question would be, what about the coaching matchup? So in most games that Andy Reid has coached while at the Chiefs or with the Eagles, he is probably the better coach out of the two, but I can't really say that. I love Coach Shanahan. I think he's awesome. What do you think would be what do you think the coaching matchup is going to be like, the dynamic? Because those are both guys that they always create unreal game plans. Like the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo didn't even have to throw over 10 passes and they still scored how many points? 37 points. It's insane, So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, these are 2 smart guys, and that's why they're here. Good coaching will get you to this point, and both guys have proven that. They've proven that in the regular season as head coaches. They've now proven that through this postseason. Can they both do it in the Super Bowl? Obviously, Andy Reid is lost in his only appearance in the Super Bowl. Kyle Shanahan's never been a head coach in the Super Bowl, but most notably, he obviously blew that big lead that I know a lot of people like to talk about. So they're going to learn from their past mistakes. They're both really smart guys. Where it's going to come down to is guys like Robert Saleh can the Niners defense go back and have a good game plan? It's going to be a chess match between a lot of different people, but Andy and Kyle, they're going to have a good game plan, I'm sure, ready for them. Two guys that you got to be happy to cheer for if you're not a fan of either one of these two teams. It would be great for either one of them to win it, so we'll just have to see who has the better idea.
All right, so you got a score prediction here?
Score prediction.
Or just a winner in general if you don't got a score.
It can be super biased. Does not matter.
It's going to be tough. I'm telling you right now, it's either going to be a 49ers blowout or a very close Chiefs win. I think if they do a good job shutting down Patrick Mahomes, I don't think this game's going to be close like none of their playoff games have been. So if we're going to go on that one, we're going to go a little Niners-centric thing. I think it could be 17 points for the Chiefs and 31. We'll go 31 for the Niners.
31-17?
Yeah.
49ers win in Miami, 6th Super Bowl.
That would be, hey, they're undefeated in Miami Super Bowl, so I don't know why they'd stop now.
We did not know that. That's a big deal.
Yes, that's
a
a good thing for
That's a
them.
good
That's what they
storyline.
want to have. They want to be back here.
Well, we want to thank you so much for coming on with us. It was such an honor for you to come on here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys. You guys are doing great. Enjoy the week.
All right, everyone. We are joined here by Dustin Dorsey.